What's going on, you guys? Dragon Ball Super, episode 60. I apologize for not getting this review out to you guys yesterday, and this is not going to be the best review ever because I have to explain time travel shit the way I see it in the series, and oh my god, I can't even tell you how many times I've tried, and it just never works out. So hopefully I can explain it because I've tried like 5 times, and my voice is being a bitch and shit. So, anyway, water. Couldn't get it done yesterday because of a lot of interruptions, but anyways, I'm going to do the review today. Uh, so yeah, hopefully I can get it done. So anyways, really I want to focus on the time travel shit, so let me just get everything else out of the way really quick. The reveal at the end that a Zamasu took over Goku's body and then killed the Goku that was in the old Zamasu body. We finally know who Goku Black is. There needs to be a further explanation, but that's really huge story progression for the arc. Massive as fuck. Then we have the conversation between Kid Trunks and Future Trunks, which is really great, and I'll talk about that in a second. And then we also have what is essentially the calm before the storm. Just a dinner, characters having fun. Vegeta's a little bit pissed off. He's a little bit thinking, like, we need to have a plan when we go in there and everything and stuff like that. But they're mostly having fun. Beerus is very funny. He was comedic and everything. In terms of art and animation, the episode actually really looked kind of iffy, to be honest. You can sacrifice art if you're going to make the animation really good, but since the animation in this episode was just standard talking animation and just conversation stuff, the art stood out a little bit worse, and yeah, it was a little shaky in terms of art. I wasn't a huge fan of that. The pacing was solid though, really good pacing, and yeah, like I said, massive story progression at the end, really good story progression. I think. Or at least progression of like the concept of the time travel shits. Not even progression, but just a reclarification with Trunks and Kid Trunks, and I'll get into that because that's the main thing I want to talk about. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, the music and sound design was great as always, and the only other thing I didn't really like in the episode besides the artwork was the scene with Goku not ever kissing Chi-Chi, apparently, because I mean, most jokes in Dragon Ball Super are hits because they're really funny, and even the ones that miss, I'm just like, whatever, shrug them off, they're not that big of a deal, they aren't cringy or anything. But this joke was bad. I didn't like this joke. It definitely was not just a miss for me. I didn't like it because of what it implies about Goku's maturity. I mean, he has 2 kids, for God's sake. Like, come on. But whatever. It will blow over. It'll blow off my shoulder and shit. By next week, I won't even remember he said it. Probably. I'll probably get a little irritated by it when I rewatch the episode with a friend because we started watching Super from the Universe 6 tournament. So yeah, and also Universe 6 tournament. Still really good. Goku vs. Hit, even better than I remember it being, and it was still already really fucking cool when I watched it. So, yeah, Universe 6 tournament, pretty damn awesome. Really fun to marathon it, honestly. So well paced. I know I said some of those episodes were, I hate to digress, but I just want to say, I know I said some of those episodes were a little slow paced, had some long stare downs. Those are still there, but when you marathon the Universe 6 arc, the pacing is just, it is so tight. It is such a well paced arc. So anyways, I just wanted to say that real quick. But moving back to this episode, pacing in this episode was really solid. I think I already said that, but decent way to dive back into this episode. So solid pacing, solid sound design, good animation for what it needed to be. It was fine. Shaky artwork, that's a negative, and I wasn't a fan of that joke. And I definitely think that when I watch that joke again, when I rewatch the episode with my friend, it's going to be a little irritating once again, but not a big deal still. So yeah. With all that being said, the time travel shit. The conversation between Trunks and Kid Trunks. Water, hold on. I'm going to need that for this. Okay. So I'm just going to start from the beginning. We've already had this pretty much implied in the series already, but we know there's 12 universes, and we know that a universe can have infinite number of timelines, which is essentially where, like, you say, oh, I'm going to go to the grocery store, and then there's a possibility where you do go, and there's a possibility where, oh, well, maybe I won't, and that's a different outcome, and that leads to a different branching path, and then when you did go to the store, that leads to you going to the store, but it's like, am I going to pick up these chips or these chips, and then that's 2 separate branching paths, so infinite number of timelines with all kinds of different possibilities. In the Android Saga, we had main present timeline, we had Trunks' timeline where the androids take over and he cannot defeat them. And then we have a third timeline where he does defeat them, but Cell kills him and takes the time machine back. And they're all completely different. The androids are more evil in his timeline. In the present timeline, there's more androids, but they're not as evil, at least 16, 17, and 18 in that case. 19 and 20 were pretty fucked up. And then the other timeline was Cell. We don't really know. We can assume they were still evil, but I guess Cell hadn't been awakened in the previous timeline, so we know that there's an infinite amount of timelines that could happen with all kinds of different outcomes. And when you time travel in Dragon Ball, you jump between a couple of different timelines and not exactly within, you don't travel back within your own timeline, you travel back into a different timeline. That way you can't affect things by altering the future. So, I mean, him coming to the past and, like, training there and then going back to his timeline, that obviously made a change, but you have to do it in a more roundabout way. Simply traveling back in time is not going to create a butterfly effect. So we know how that works. So that's why I think this conversation they had was really good, because it reconfirmed this and put it into context a little bit better, because he explains pretty much everything. Goku died of a heart virus, which that was going to be similar in the present timeline. That was going to happen, but Goku died of a heart virus, all the other characters were dead, the androids were more evil, there were less androids, you know, and then you had the other timeline with Cell, which he didn't explain that, but still, he explains all this to Kid Trunks, which is interesting that Kid Trunks didn't know this stuff, that they kept that from him, which was kind of interesting, but I think this adds a lot of context to the explanation we're going to get for Zamasu and everything, because with an infinite number of timelines, that's an infinite number of Zamasus, and we don't need to focus on all of them, because all of them is not even quantifiable, but just focus on probably around 3 or 4 Zamasus. I think the first Zamasu was from a timeline where he met Goku, but he enacted his wishes with the Dragon Balls before Beerus killed him, and he became Goku Black, and then he went to another Zamasu thinking, well, I mean, it's me, we all have the same idea about mortals, so fuck them, and he went and got another one, and then that Zamasu made himself immortal. And then, of course, the third Zamasu was the one from the present timeline that Beerus was able to kill. So, yeah, it's definitely, that's definitely what I think they're going for. That we need a full explanation on the whole switching bodies thing, but as it is, it's a good episode. I definitely think that scene, I stuttered so much just now, but anyways, yeah, that scene at the end where he reveals himself, and that scene with Kid Trunks, those are like the 2 power scenes of the episode. Because we even had like the Pilaf gang, which it was very funny when Shu was like, I have nothing to contribute here. That was a funny line, but Pilaf saying, so what, there's like an infinite number of worlds, meaning timelines. Him questioning that, I think, is confirmation that like that is the case, and yeah, it's good to reestablish that, so that when you go into the explanation of Zamasu and everything, and Black Goku and everything, once that's explained, you have the context from this episode. So, yeah, but who knows? It might get totally fucked over, and the explanation will be totally bullshit. I have no idea. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out, but yeah, that was pretty much the entire review, was just me explaining the timeline shit, and I could be fucking wrong, too. I could be so fucking wrong. Like, you have no, like, you could watch this video and be like, what the fuck is this bearded fucker talking about? But you know, that's how I've always seen the timeline shit. And, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. And I think the time ring will play. Fucking phone. Are you done? Fucker? Alright, so, anyways, and I think the time ring will be a key component in traveling between different timelines, whereas Trunks' time machine pretty much goes from his timeline to the present timeline. I feel like the time ring can probably take you to different timelines where you can find other Zamasus, or really not, or rather not really, because technically the third Zamasu he's not even a part of the plan. The other 2 Zamasus are a part of the plan, the immortal one and the black one, so maybe the time ring can only travel between those 2 timelines, and this third one was out of the loop, obviously, because Beerus destroyed him before he got the chance to do his thing. Because if they killed the God of Destruction in those other timelines, that would mean that he was able to do everything he needed to do without Beerus. Of course, would Beerus have killed him? We need the explanation. We definitely need the explanation. I'm not going to theorize too much. Video's probably already long enough. But anyways, with all that being said, I'm giving this episode an 8.5 out of 10. I thought it was a very good episode of Dragon Ball Super. Could I be wrong about the time travel stuff? Absolutely. Shut me the fuck up and correct me in the comment section below if I'm wrong. I'll totally be open to that. I'm not an asshole. So anyways, thank you very much for watching the video. Tell me what you guys thought of this episode of Dragon Ball Super in the comments section below. Follow me on Instagram or add me on PSN. I'm petplatypus on both. Give me a thumbs up on this video, and then of course share it. That would also help me out a lot. Subscribe if you haven't already, or if you like what you've seen here. And I want to thank you guys for watching once again, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.